Chung-Kang. I'm from the Department of Economics. The topic that I'm going to present today is the journey to a better life, the migrant worker in Taiwan. This is my agenda. In the first chapter, I will introduce the topic, who are migrant workers? I believe most of you have already seen them somewhere in Taiwan. In the second chapter, I will introduce to you the journey for those migrant workers from their country to come all the way to Taiwan. What have them been through? In the third chapter, I would mention some main obstacles for them to work in Taiwan. In the last chapter, I would introduce some organization which provide help to those migrant workers in order to let them and Taiwanese to have a better life. So who are those migrant workers? Where do they come from? What do they do in Taiwan? I believe the picture from the left is already the common scene in Taiwan. The foreign lady pushing the elder on the wheelchair. The picture in the right is a construction worker. If you look closely, you could find lots of foreign workers as well. Those migrant workers are essential for Taiwan society since we suffer from an Asian population and have a lower and lower birth rate. We need them to fill the gap in the workforce. Those four pictures represent four counties in Taiwan. The top left picture is in Taipei main station. Sometimes, migrant workers would gather in the lobby to hold an event. The upright picture is in Taichung. The Asian square is famous among migrant workers. Every holiday, people could see hundreds of migrant workers coming here to meet their friends or enjoy the food and have some entertainment. The picture below are from Taoyuan and Kaohsiung. The industry in those counties are labor intensive, so the demand for the migrant workers are large. So when did those migrant workers come to Taiwan? We need to go back to 1990s. At that time, Taiwan's industry was suffered from the labor shortage. Also, the government initiated several new infrastructure projects due to the 6-year National Development Plan. The local workers were not enough to fill this gap. In 1992, the government amended law to legalize the local firm to hire blue-collar foreign workers, but limiting the employment length to 2 years. The length is now 3 years, and the employer could apply for extension. Until March in 2022, there are already over 700,000 migrant workers in Taiwan. They make huge contribution in the manufacturing, electronic, and healthcare sectors. In Taiwan, most of the migrant worker comes from Southeast Asia. The largest proportion of the migrant workers come from Indonesia, around 200,000 workers, and the following is from Vietnam, around 220,000 workers. However, as the number of the migrant workers is growing every year, the number of the undocumented migrant workers is increasing every year as well. Undocumented migrant workers are those who run away from their employer and are not able to contact. In 2015, there are already 50,000 migrant workers. The number didn't decrease until 2021. The largest proportion of the undocumented migrant workers are female Indonesian workers, and the following is the male and female Vietnamese migrant workers. So, why did they escape from their job? Before answering this question, we need to understand how migrant workers start their work in Taiwan. Their journey starts from their country. To work in Taiwan, they need to pay the agent fee from 80,000 to 200,000 NT at first. When they come to Taiwan, they need to pay for the training fee and some living costs to the local agency in Taiwan, and only earn a minimum wage around 25,000 per month. After 3 years, they could extend the extension. by signing a new contract with their employer. Under the current law, they could continue to work in Taiwan up until 14 years. However, this is the ideal situation. If somehow they have some issue with their employer or don't like their job in Taiwan, they need to return to their country and start the journey all over again. Most of the migrant workers choose to pay the loan to come. They could not pay back their debts with the salary back in their country, and they choose to run away and become undocumented workers. Although being an undocumented workers could earn more and work longer in Taiwan, they also face tremendous risks. They might get sick but lack of access to health insurance. Also, they might be controlled by gangsters and be exploited. So, what is the main obstacles? Could we find any solutions to deal with those difficulties? Two main reasons for the increasing undocumented migrant workers is that, first, they are lack of information. When they are in their country, they have limited information about the job market in Taiwan. Also, when they work in Taiwan but is unsatisfied with their job, they don't have enough information to change to a more decent job. Another big problem is that there are cultural barriers between those migrant workers and Taiwan society. Some could not communicate with their employer well, and this results in many misunderstandings. And there are lack of connection in Taiwan, which makes them unable to ask for help when they have any problem. We already know that the duration for those migrant workers is limited. The main goal for them is to come here to earn money. Once they lost their job, not only they should pay for their living cost, but also pay the agency fee to find a new job. This makes them choose to bear the exploitation or run away from the current employer. So could we try to break down their problems and try to find a solution for both Taiwanese and them to become better? There are already some organizations try to stand in their shoes and figure out the solution. The Ministry of Labor established a website called Transnational Labor Rights Protection Portal. The website provides multi-language information for migrant workers to post their current status and look for a suitable new employer. Taiwanese employer could always find someone they need on the website and have an interview with them. An organization called 140, which is a non-profit organization. Their goal is to provide education to those migrant workers for them to have a better language ability and financial knowledge. Also, they hold several cultural exchange events, inviting migrant workers to share their own story to Taiwanese, open a door for better understandings. Here comes a famous quote from Max Frisch. We wanted workers, but we got people instead. The citizen in Taiwan should always pay respect to those provide essential service to their daily life, and also find a way to make both to have a better life. This is the end of my presentation.